While a number of Republican lawmakers insist that IVF should be protected, even if abortion access is restricted, Republican think tanks are working to change their minds. Politico reports the Heritage Foundation and other conservative groups have been strategizing on how to convince not just GOP officials, but evangelicals broadly that they should have serious moral concerns about fertility treatments like IVF. Joining us now, law professor at the University of California, Davis, and author of Dollars for Life, the Anti-Abortion Movement and the Fall of the Republican Establishment, Mary Ziegler. Mary, good to have you. All right, so the effort to overturn Roe v. Wade, to decrease support of it among the American electorate, took decades. It was a concerted conservative effort to convince people that it was morally wrong. How would that look for IVF?
I think that there's a similar idea that there would be a death of 1,000 cuts, beginning with evangelical religious leaders, beginning at the level of local churches, kind of moving from there to state legislatures. Again, movement leaders in the anti-abortion movement recognizing that voters just aren't there yet, that Congress just isn't there yet. And so starting with these smaller wins is the plan, with the hope of then building to something larger, setting the precedent that it's okay to say you don't support IVF, or it's okay to say IVF is immoral. And so that kind of strategy that anti-abortion leaders had called incrementalism, we're seeing reemerge with respect to IVF.
In looking at the way things are going right now, the other week I had on the lawyer Erin Hawley arguing against the expanded access of mifepristone. I asked her about the Comstock Act and whether that was setting the groundwork, the precedent for potentially using that act in the future to go after anything involved in facilitating an abortion nationwide, thereby, in effect, banning abortions nationwide. Do you see the Comstock Act playing into this?
I do. I mean, the Comstock Act is definitely the cornerstone of anti-abortion strategy in a second Trump administration, precisely because you wouldn't need voters to sign off on it. It's a law from 1873. So if you can reinvent it as whatever you want it to be today, it doesn't matter that voters would never agree to enact such a law in the present day. How the Comstock Act would relate to IVF is an interesting question, but we can't rule that out, in part because the language of the Comstock Act is so vague, right? The Comstock Act says things like you can't mail any other item for indecent or immoral use. And if you believe IVF to be immoral, which we know many leading anti-abortion groups do, there's no reason that the Comstock Act couldn't be applied in that context as well.
Isn't it dangerous? I mean, IVF, abortion obviously took time to undercut, but it was never as popular as IVF in the first place. And there's been a lot of polling out there that shows that the American public broadly support IVF. Evangelicals support IVF. Conservatives support IVF. Kellyanne Conway has reportedly gone around Congress and showed her polling to Republican lawmakers, warning them against trying to undercut IVF access. Is this a potentially hot political potato in the same way that abortion is? I mean, there was that Alabama House seat that was just won by a Democrat, same Democrat who lost it the year before to a Republican.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what you're seeing here is anti-abortion groups essentially saying to the GOP, this is our agenda. We believe that fetuses and embryos are persons, and we're going to pursue that agenda, even if in the short term it causes some of your candidates pain. But you better get on board, because we are the base voters that are potentially going to give Donald Trump a second crack at the White House. So even though anti-abortion groups are planning on playing the long game, that could cost Republicans in the short term. I think there's also divergent priorities between some state and national Republicans. If you, for example, are a lawmaker in an uncompetitive seat in the state legislature in Alabama, you may have no problem going along with the idea that IVF is underregulated or problematic or violates the rights of fetal persons, because you don't face that political competition. But we know when they're going to be closely contested races for control of the House or Senate that national Republicans aren't necessarily in the same position.
Listen, and that race in Alabama that I mentioned wasn't even wasn't close a year ago. She lost by a number of points a year ago, and then she won by more than 20 points when she was running on the issue of IVF after the Alabama Supreme Court ruling. So what might not look like a close race now could be much closer in the future if these things do go into effect. Mary Ziegler. Mary, thank you very much.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.